Good morning. I know many of you, I have not been in the building hardly at all this year, but just a quick introduction.
Mrs. Washi, if you are still in the building, can you come to the office? Mrs. Washi to the office. Thank you.
I'm Mrs. Sard. For a lot of years, I taught first grade at Hawthorne. I had some brothers and sisters in first grade at Hawthorne. And then now I get to work with kids in lots of different buildings. And so thanks for having us back again, Mrs. Merrick. So yeah, this is writing time, but just for a minute, well, more than a minute, a few minutes, I want you to pretend that this isn't writing time at all. Okay? I want you, think in your head, I want you to think of two tools or two things you might study if this was social studies time. Think. Tools or things you might study if this was social studies. Share your two things with your partners. Five, four, three, two, one. So I heard things like books and topics like inventions, and I think those are things are all great. You know, at social studies time, you might use maps, and you might actually just do some talking or some research. But you know, there are other things that we're going to talk about today, because remember, this isn't writing, we're pretending it's social studies. So here's the deal. From now on, social studies and writing go hand in hand. They go together. Just like from now on, you could also talk about science and writing go together. Like you can't separate them. Because as people get older and they turn into anthropologists or geologists or social studies teachers or inventors, they never stop writing either. They carry those writing skills with them everywhere they go. Okay, so it's not like they go to writing class to do their writing. They're still in their profession. They're still their inventor, or they're still that social studies expert that also does their writing. But here's the deal, and this is really important for us to remember today. Writers use what they know about planning well-organized information texts. Information texts, what have you learned? Are they fiction or nonfiction writing?
Nonfiction.
That's right. They're
In first and second grade, a lot of people were thrown off by the non.
I know.
They were thrown off. Non usually means, you know, if you brought up a little kid to that, like someone who hasn't been through any school, like a preschooler, they'd say nonfiction means like fantasy genre type thing.
Yeah, like made up, right? Yeah, but that's the opposite. Do you know, I think you bring up
Non means opposite instead of non.
I think you bring up a good point, because I think there are also adults today that still are confused by that. So the fact that you know that information texts are nonfiction, and that means real information, is so important. Okay, so I said to you, we're going to pretend this is social studies class, all right? And the topic that we're studying in our pretend social studies class is China. So, being the person that I am, and I'm probably a lot like the other women in the room, I love shopping. Mrs. Rarick, do you love shopping?
I love shopping.
Mrs. Isaacson? Mrs. Agri?
I like shopping.
Mrs. Lingle? Oh, we love shopping. Put your finger on your nose if you love shopping.
I hate shopping.
Yeah, Do you know what? My husband would say the same thing. Ugh, I hate it. But we all sometimes like to shop for different things. That's right, Zach. We can like shopping for different things, but I bet at your house you have lots of toys and games and just lots of things that are important to you that somebody, either you or somebody you care for, has gone shopping for. And I bet, got my shopping bag, I bet if you have ever looked at, here's one of my son's toys, if you've ever looked at one of your toys, not all of them, but I bet many of them, if you flip it over, somewhere on the back will be 3 words that say,
Made in China.
Made in China.
Well, yeah, because China is like the worldwide manufacturer of plastic.
And remember, of plastic, huh? And remember, we are talking about China in our social studies lesson. I don't know, these little bugs, have you ever seen those?
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, same thing. Oh, no, I can't find it. Oh, right over here. Made in China, made of plastic, in China.
Let's make a bunch of motors.
Stuffed animals.
I love stuffed animals.
Very bottom, oh, sorry, sweetie. Very bottom sentence on the tag. Made in China, even penguins. Made in China. Now this is what was interesting to me. Air Force One, United States of America. Yeah, can you see it right down here on the little scanning thing? Yeah, made in China. So this is social studies, and we're talking about shopping because it's something that I'm very interested in. And all of these things are made in China. So if I'm going to start writing my nonfiction, my information text,
You go to China?
I need to remember that, can you read it with me? Writers use what they know about planning well-organized information texts. I'm thinking about China, I'm thinking about shopping, and I'm going to use what I know about writing a well-organized text. So today, that is what we're all going to be doing. We're going to be writing a short text, but we're going to use a similar planning process like you've used earlier in your lessons with Mrs. Rurick. You know, a few lessons ago, and maybe actually a lot of lessons ago, you started looking at some different structures for how you could plan and get ready for your writing. So, is it something you can share with me a little bit later? Great, thanks. Hang on to it, don't forget. So one of the things that you talked about was something called boxes and bullets. And you might not have used this topic when you talked about boxes and bullets, but it went like this. Up in your box was kind of your big topic, getting rid of cockroaches. Okay? Then each bullet were ways or ideas that supported getting rid of cockroaches. Like traps could be used, poison could be used, green methods, you know, like instead of using poison, which has like chemicals to kill the cockroaches, green methods would be using something natural that also makes them kind of go, ugh. Or preventative, that means kind of trying to plan ahead and not allow them to come into a certain area. So this one is called, remember, boxes and bullets. And that's one structure you can use to plan for writing. Another structure you maybe talked about were causes and effects. So with causes and effects, you use a lot of if-then statements. So if I trap cockroaches, then I'll get rid of a few cockroaches temporarily. I won't get rid of all of them or the eggs. So here's the cause, And the effect is what happens if you do this, if, then. If I poison cockroaches, then I will get rid of most of the cockroaches, but if I have pets or young children, well then I could be poisoning them too, right? Because animals, little kids, they don't always know what they're supposed to eat or what they're not supposed to eat, so that could cause a problem. So this one is boxes and bullets, and this one is, okay, I'm going to move this one aside.
I like it.
Oh, okay, I almost got ya. Sorry. All right, so here's the other one that you talked about. This one is similarities and differences, or you might have done one that said pros and cons as well. They're pretty similar. Okay? So getting rid of cockroaches and mice. Here again is my big main topic. How is getting rid of cockroaches and mice similar? Well, getting rid of cockroaches is similar to getting rid of mice because both cockroaches and mice can live in people's homes and are unwanted. Both creatures are killed by similar methods, such as traps, poison, etc. How are they different? Getting rid of cockroaches is different than getting rid of mice because not everyone wants to kill mice. I would be on the wanting to, however. I'm not crazy about mice, but not everybody. Some people have mice as pets. Similarities and differences. So, think back. These are ways, third graders, take a look. These are ways, boxes and bullets, causes and effects, similarities and differences that you can plan for your writing about your main topic. So, now I'm thinking again about my topic. My topic is China, and more specifically, shopping, right? So writers use what they know about planning well-organized information text. I could try this. I could do a boxes and bullets about places to shop in China. Because I know in China, you can shop at malls, you can shop at outdoor markets, you can also shop at small shops, you know, where it's just one little shop. So I could do boxes and bullets to get my ideas together for this informational text. But you know, as I'm writing this, I'm also thinking that maybe another idea might be things to shop for in China. You know, because I was thinking about all of these things that I found in the USA that were all made in China. So I'm thinking perhaps we could shop for toys in China. Maybe we could shop for accessories in China, I know I've got a lot of scarves. You know, scarves are kind of popular right now, and a lot of those tags say that the scarves are made in China. So I bet there are lots of other accessories you could shop for as well. And I'm also thinking, I probably could shop for jewelry in China, because I know some of my jewelry has that. And then you know what I just thought of right now? Tea. China is known for lots of different kinds of tea. So maybe that's something I could shop for in China. So, you know, there are lots of ways I could play with these structures. I was also thinking here, as I was talking about places to shop in China, malls, outdoor markets, small shops, I could do a compare and contrast of shopping in China to shopping in the United States, because I know even in Fargo, we have a mall. We have outdoor markets, not usually this time of the year, but in the summer, like if you've ever gone down by the dike to the farmer's market where they sell vegetables and jelly and things like that.
But that's in summer. In a lot of places, in China and a lot of ancient Roman areas, they used to have it all the time except when it got really cold.
Right. So if I was doing a compare and contrast with that, I could say outdoor markets could be found in China and in the United States, but then I'd want to be specific to address that when it gets really cold in places like Fargo, it probably doesn't take place then. But then I also know that there are lots of small shops, even in Fargo, that are just standalone individual stores that aren't part of a mall. So I could do a compare and contrast about shopping in China and shopping in the United States. Okay, so I want you to remember, even though this is writing time, we're pretending again it's social studies, and we're taking what we know, or in this case, what I know about China, to be able to write. But I'm always remembering the things that you've been learning regarding information text and just applying it to what I know about China. Okay, so I've tried a few different structures. I've also shared with you some other ideas about some structures in my head. So I think I'm getting closer and closer to what I really want to write about. So getting closer and closer is really important because writers use what they know about planning well-organized information text. And I think this part right here, well-organized, is really important. When I'm reading a book, I don't like reading a book or an article that isn't well organized. So as a writer, I need to keep in mind about getting my ideas put together so that my text can be well organized. Okay, I want you to close your eyes. Put your head down, just kind of tuck in your chin to your chest, eyes closed. When you think about everything that you've learned so far, and things that you've studied about magnets and electricity or cultures, I want you to think in your head, is there something in that group that is something that you're really drawn to? Maybe you find very interesting, or that you've studied and you really know a lot about. Maybe it's something that you want to know more about. Maybe in your head you have another topic idea that you've learned about in another class or with your family that you have a lot of information about that makes you excited. I want you to put a topic, one topic that fits that criteria in your head. Without opening your eyes, when you have that topic, give me a thumbs up. most of you have that topic. Let's keep our eyes closed. You know, keep your topic in your brain. Focus on that topic. And I want you to do kind of like what I did with my boxes and bullets. I want you to think about what are the chunks that you could pull from your topic. Can you come up with 3, maybe 4 chunks about that topic? When you have 3 or 4 chunks, go ahead and lift your head and open your eyes. All right, in just a minute, I'm going to have you share your topic chunks with your writing partner, and you're just going to use your fingers kind of as your bullets. So watch, if I'm going to share with my partner, I would tell my partner, I'm going to write about places to shop in China, and I'm thinking about chunking it: malls, outdoor markets, small shops. So my fingers are like my bullets. Okay? Go ahead and share your topic and your chunks. What's your topic?
This activity? Okay. So what were some of the chunks that you picked there? What ended up being your
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. So the nice thing about sometimes sharing your chunks with somebody is that sometimes if you've been stuck or maybe you could only come up with 2, that when you visit with somebody, sometimes that gives you another idea, or you can kind of brainstorm together. And so now, as you have those chunks in your head, in just a few minutes, you're going to head to your writing spot and you're going to begin writing. We're not writing books today. We're not writing long, lengthy stories. We're just taking one large topic and 3, 4 chunks and drafting that. You won't have a lot of time to write, but you'll definitely have an opportunity to get going and try to make sure you address each of your chunks. All the while, don't forget, let's say it together, writers use what they know about planning well-organized information texts. So, before you head off, I want you to think back to the beginning of your unit about information text. You might be remembering a time that you taught someone else about a topic, because sometimes when we teach someone else, it helps us to think through the topic a little bit more about how we can add some additional information. Or maybe you're thinking about the time that you created your table of contents, and perhaps you had to create one draft of the table of contents and then another draft, and you had to kind of keep refining it. Or maybe you'll do one of the structures that we've talked about to help get your ideas together. But keep in mind that you're going to need to work rather quickly, And you may also, if you're still struggling with the topic, or if the topic you thought you were going to use when you were sharing your chunks with your partner, if you're thinking, boy, maybe I'm not quite prepared, or maybe I don't have enough information to write about that topic, maybe you want to pick up your writer's notebook and understand that you have some seeds there. There might be an idea for some informational writing from some of those seeds. But having your writer's notebook near you will also help you remember about all the things you've been learning about writing informational text. And we know that writers use what they know. And sometimes it's helpful to have a reminder. All right. When I put my hands on my shoulders, I would like you to stand up, pick up your writer's notebook and any other materials that you need so that you can begin drafting your topic and your chunks into an information text.